2026 isn't just another year for isekai, it's the year the genre takes over anime again. Not random reincarnations, not safe power fantasies. I'm talking about franchise-defining arcs, long-awaited returns, and seasons that will completely shift the conversation. People said isekai was oversaturated, repetitive, slowing down. 2026 is about to prove them wrong. Because when this many giants return at once, it stops being a trend, it becomes the main event. And trust me, the top 3, each is a returning giant, and one is about to adapt what many fans consider the greatest arc in the genre. Let's count them down. Farming life in another world. Let's start somewhere peaceful. Because not every isekai wins through chaos. Some win through consistency. Farming life in another world is comfort done right. A man who died sick gets a second chance with health, freedom, and land. No demon king breathing down his neck. No kingdom politics, just farming, building, growing something from nothing. What made the first season work wasn't action, it was progression. A forest turning into a village turning into a community, new faces arriving, new structures rising. It's the kind of show you put on and don't want to leave. In a lineup full of war and power scaling, this becomes the reset button. Season 2 is set to premiere in spring 2026, and from here, things start getting louder. Skeleton Knight in another world. Now we move into something heavier. A gamer falls asleep and wakes up inside his MMO, but not as a flashy hero, as a literal skeleton. Arc has overwhelming power, but has to hide it just to avoid being hunted. Season 1 set the tone, adventure, dark undertones, political tensions simmering beneath the surface. And Arc isn't the type to ignore injustice. That's where the story expands. When small quests turn into larger conflicts, when kingdoms start moving pieces behind the scenes, that's when this kind of series levels up. The world gets bigger, the stakes stretch further, and this partnership between overwhelming strength and moral restraint, that's always a recipe for escalation. Season 2 arrives in summer 2026, but if you think that's solid, the next one already has momentum. Reincarnated as a sword. This one already proved it wasn't just a gimmick. A man reincarnated as a sentient sword sounds absurd, until you see the execution. The emotional core is Fran, a black cat tribe member trying to break her people's reputation and evolve beyond their limits. Season 1 focused on growth. Season 2 means escalation, stronger enemies, more dangerous dungeons, bigger world expansion. And now there's expectation. The first season built trust. Season 2 builds pressure. If it delivers on its next arc properly, this won't just be that surprisingly good isekai. It'll be one of the season's most consistent performers, and it's set to return in fall 2026. And from here, we step into established franchises. Ascendance of a Bookworm, adopted daughter of an archduke. This is one of the most detailed slow-burn isekai ever adapted. A girl who lived and breathed books dies before she can become a librarian, and wakes up in a world where books barely exist. Not because no one wants them, because they're luxuries, reserved for nobles, locked behind class systems and magic. What makes this series special isn't power scaling, it's systems. Printing, papermaking, economics, noble politics. Mind doesn't conquer the world with a sword, she reshapes it with knowledge. And as the story moves deeper into noble territory, the scale grows beyond simple bookmaking. Power structures shift, factions take notice, consequences start stacking. Season 4 arrives in spring 2026, and now the year starts feeling heavier. Saga of Tanya the Evil. This isn't an adventure, it's a war machine that never stops running. A ruthless salaryman reincarnated as a child soldier, locked in a battle of ideology against the self-proclaimed god. Tanya doesn't want glory, she wants comfort. But every strategic victory pushes her deeper into global conflict. Season 1 established the brutality, the politics, the tension between faith and logic. Season 2 means escalation, larger battlefields, higher military consequences, and a continued psychological war between Tanya and Being X. The stakes aren't personal anymore, they're global. Saga of Tanya the Evil 2 is set to release in 2026. And now we crossed into the top 5. Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun. Now we switch tone completely. Iruma is still human, still in a demon academy, still trying not to get exposed. But something has changed. The timid survival phase? That's long gone. Season 4 moves into the music festival arc, and it's way more important than it sounds. Because this isn't just about singing, it's about identity. It's about standing on stage and deciding who you are in front of everyone. The misfit class doesn't just perform, they prepare, they clash, they push each other, and for one specific member, this arc hits deeply personal. A character who's been quiet, hidden, easy to overlook, finally steps forward. And when that moment lands, it's not flashy, it's earned. This season is less about chaos and more about unity. Less about surviving school and more about claiming presence. Ranks shift, reputations solidify, and Iruma's position inside the academy quietly rises. It returns in spring 2026. And now we enter controversial territory. The beginning after the end. Yeah, I know. Season 1 had animation issues. The adaptations sparked debate. People were divided. That part's real. But here's the important part. The story itself, it's not the problem. The novel behind this series is one of the most respected modern isekai stories out there. The foundation is strong. A king with everything. Power, wealth, authority dies and is reborn as Arthur Lewin. This time, he isn't chasing dominance. He's trying to live with purpose. And that emotional shift is what makes the narrative work. Arthur grows up in a world of magic, training from childhood, building strength step by step. As the arcs progress, the story expands far beyond family warmth, academy politics, continental threats, war-level stakes. The scale increases dramatically. That's why Season 2 is so important. If the production improves, if the animation matches the intensity of the source, this becomes a completely different conversation, because the hype is already there. Season 2 arrives in spring 2026, and from here on out, we're entering certified heavy hitters. Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. We are finally seeing Eris again, and that alone changes everything. Season 3 moves into the young man period arc, where Rudius isn't just surviving anymore, he's building a family, a reputation, a future. The tone at first feels calmer, grounded, but that calm doesn't last, because this is the point where consequences start circling back. Old decisions, old influences, old warnings. And something from Rudius' future forces him to question everything. Trust becomes complicated, guidance becomes suspicious, and for the first time, Rudius has to decide who he listens to and who he opposes. Eris returns stronger, more composed, no longer the impulsive girl from before. And her presence doesn't just bring emotion, it shifts dynamics. Meanwhile, the world expands politically. Royal factions move, powerful beings observe, long-term conflicts begin forming shape. And there's one confrontation coming this season that readers already know it isn't small. It tests growth, it tests resolve, and it tests whether Rudius has truly changed. Season 3 releases in summer 2026. And now, we're entering the final stretch, and the scale jumps again. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Rimuru isn't building anymore. He's governing. Tempest isn't a hidden monster village. It's a recognized power. Trade routes are active, diplomacy is delicate, and every decision echoes beyond its borders. Season 4 moves into a phase where threats aren't obvious. They're subtle. Political moves happen in silence. Alliances feel temporary, and certain familiar faces begin acting with deeper intent. This isn't random conflict. It's orchestration. Rimuru has to balance expansion, loyalty, and survival, while forces far beyond Tempest begin tightening their grip. At the same time, the nation continues evolving. Infrastructure expands. New systems are introduced. Tempest becomes something more than a sanctuary. It becomes a statement. And while the surface looks stable, the board is shifting underneath. Powerful entities step forward, old grudges resurface, and the scale of confrontation rises beyond regional disputes. This arc doesn't just raise stakes, it widens the world. Season 4 premieres in spring 2026. And now, there's only one left. ReZero's starting life in another world. This is the one, the arc readers have been waiting to see animated. And if it lands the way it should, 2026 belongs to it. Season 4 is where things stop being manageable. The story moves into one of the most dangerous environments we've seen so far. Isolated, unpredictable, and filled with secrets that don't come easily. Subaru isn't walking into this blindly. He's experienced now, more controlled, more strategic, but experience doesn't guarantee survival, because this time, the challenge isn't just physical, it's mental. Information becomes the real battlefield. Certain truths need to be uncovered, but uncovering them comes at a cost. The enemies here aren't just strong, they're layered. And for Subaru, the margin for error is thinner than it's ever been. Return by death still exists, but using it isn't simple anymore. Every reset carries psychological weight. Every decision risks permanent consequences. It expands the lore, deepens the mysteries of the world, and puts Subaru in situations where brute determination isn't enough. Season 4 arrives in spring 2026, and when it starts, it doesn't ease you in. It challenges everything the series has built so far. And that's the lineup. 10 isekai, all returning, all landing in the same year. These aren't new experiments. They're established worlds finally reaching the arcs fans have waited years to see animated. Some will expand nations, some will start wars, some will break characters emotionally. So now I want to know, which one are you most excited for? And which arc is about to shock anime? Only fans the hardest, because if even half of these deliver, 2026 won't just be strong, it'll set the standard. And if you missed my video on the returning anime of Winter 2026, that's already up. Check that out next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.